and SonoSim, we welcome you to today's presentation. We are delighted that you are here and that you chose to spend time with us today to learn more about this product review for the Laerdal-SonoSim Ultrasound Solution. My name is Lee, and I'm happy to be your host today. We have some objectives today. The goals of today's presentation are to give you a brief introduction to the two companies that have partnered together to bring you this solution, both Laerdal and SonoSim. We're going to introduce you to Laerdal-SonoSim Ultrasound Solution and its features. And lastly, we're going to talk about simulation and how the use of scenarios can benefit your team training. I'm excited to introduce our speakers today. We have two speakers with us. We have Dr. Roger Wallace. He's the lead medical developer from SonoSim. Dr. Wallace has been a SonoSim contributor since 2012. He is involved in creating and editing educational content for the Laerdal-SonoSim solution. Additionally, he works as a full-time practicing emergency physician. We also have Ed Kolkloff with us today. He's a senior program marketing manager with Laerdal Medical. Ed joined Laerdal Medical in 2007 as a clinical specialist with the Canadian team. Okay, I'm not advancing my slides here. Hold on a second. I'm having a slight technical difficulty. Okay, so please bear with me one second. Okay, here's our speakers. Okay, we have Ed. He's joined Laerdal Medical in 2007 as a clinical specialist with the Canadian team. He is currently based in Laerdal, New York offices. Ed has been a part of Laerdal-SonoSim Solution since the beginning. Okay, thank you for joining us. Now I'd like to welcome and invite Ed to begin the presentation.
Thank you, Lee, and welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us, and we're excited to have everyone here today. We thought we'd open today with just take a few minutes to talk about the two companies that are bringing you this solution, Laerdal Medical and SonoSim. Laerdal was founded in 1940 as a toy manufacturer and has become an industry leader in medical simulation. With an expertise in plastic manufacturing, Laerdal was one of the first to respond to the need for what at the time was a revolutionary new medical procedure called rescue breathing. Responding to the need, our founder, Asmund Laerdal, set out to produce a product that now has become synonymous with CPR training, and we all know that is Resuscian. Over decades, the commitment to help save lives has transitioned to our current company mission of helping save 500,000 more lives per year for our 2020 goal. Through the development of new products to meet the needs of our customers, such as the solution that we're going to talk and share with you today, and through the continued support of the Laerdal Global Health and Laerdal Foundation, two not-for-profit companies, we are committed to fulfill our mission. We feel that our success will rely on partnering with companies such as SonoSim that share those similar mission. So with that, I would turn it over to Dr. Wallace to tell us a little bit about SonoSim.
Thanks so much, Ed. Really appreciate that. SonoSim is dedicated to improving and transforming medical care by serving as a global leader in ultrasound education and training. SonoSim was formed in response to the need to overcome the high opportunity cost associated with ultrasound training. Historical barriers to track ultrasound performance and assess competency include the need for an instructor, an ultrasound machine, learner, and a patient with a pathologic condition to all be present in the same place. To overcome these barriers, SonoSim developed an innovative training system to allow for more flexible and affordable ultrasound training, the SonoSim Ultrasound Solution, which combines online didactic courses with hands-on ultrasound training on a laptop computer. Using a virtual 3D body model and USB-connected probe to scan real patient ultrasound imagery, the hands-on training replicates the tactile experience of using an actual ultrasound probe. This enables learners to develop their visuospatial skills to interpret ultrasound imagery while reinforcing understanding of didactic content. With its staff of leading ultrasound educators, instructional designers, content editors, scientists, and software developers, SonoSim continues to increase its curriculum to cater to educators, students, and medical practitioners in all types of specialties of healthcare. Through the SonoSim Ultrasound Solution, SonoSim has created the easiest way to learn ultrasonography.
So our two companies, leaders in their respective arenas, have been collaborating to bring the industry's first simulator that can accommodate the use of sonography during scenario and team training. SonoSim brings the expertise and the technology that includes images, specifically designed scenarios with robust materials that ensure the student and educators have a successful experience. This great technology and resources are put in the Laerdal-SimMan and SimMom family of simulators, and the scenarios and resources are available through Laerdal-Sim Store. Behind the products are years of research and development that continues today as the two companies work in collaboration to offer you the Laerdal-SonoSim Ultrasound Solution. We feel that the solution, combined with the strengths of both of our companies, will help improve patient outcomes and support our mission of helping save more lives. So without further ado, I will turn it over to Dr. Wallace, who will introduce us to the Laerdal-SonoSim Ultrasound Solution.
Thanks again, Ed. Over the next few slides, I'd like to present a brief history on the adoption of clinician-operated bedside ultrasound and how this has been incorporated into our product. I'll also take you through some of the key components and features, who it's designed for, and what makes it distinctive. Additionally, following the seminar, we can email each of you a link to the full video demonstration of the solution. Ultrasound technology has revolutionized the way clinical medicine is practiced by allowing care providers to see inside a patient's body in real time. Clinicians no longer have to rely solely on their five senses when performing a physical exam. Ultrasound enables a clinician to thoroughly examine, assess, and evaluate a patient's condition faster and more accurately. As a result, the use of clinician-operated bedside ultrasound reflects state-of-the-art medical care. Traditionally, the use of ultrasound within simulations has been limited. Most high-fidelity simulation mannequins have no ultrasound-compatible components. Because of this, ultrasound image acquisition, a key component of ultrasound use, could not be replicated. By integrating SonoSim's ultrasound training technology into the Laerdal Patient Simulator platform, the Laerdal-SonoSim Ultrasound Solution now combines clinician-operated bedside ultrasound use with full-scale, lifelike simulation sessions. The result is a simulation experience that mimics the care of critically ill patients in top medical centers today, providing groundbreaking medical training. The key pieces of equipment of the Laerdal-SonoSim Ultrasound Solution are an instructor PC using the LEAP platform and a patient monitor, the Laerdal-SonoSim computer and LS probe, either a SimMan mannequin with torso skin and LS tags, or the SimMom mannequin with chest skin and either a non-gravid or gravid abdomen with LS tags. This setting illustrates a recommended room layout to run a simulation using the Laerdal-SonoSim Ultrasound Solution. Here, the instructor PC is on-site rather than in a control room. More importantly, note the placement of the Laerdal-SonoSim computer, which should always be placed on the mannequin's anatomical right to allow for correct ultrasound practice. The key features of the Laerdal-SonoSim Ultrasound Solution are its 50 specifically designed scenarios, different modes of training, different levels of training, and its evidence-based materials. I'll be going through each of these in a little more detail later in our presentation. The Laerdal-SonoSim Ultrasound Solution is designed primarily for learners who care for critically ill medical and surgical patients, as well as those who care for pregnant patients in early and/or late-stage pregnancy. The educational background of primary learners may include advanced medical students, graduate medical education participants of all years, and healthcare professionals who oversee the care of these patients. The product is designed for users who have had some level of training, knowledge, and experience in acquiring and interpreting point-of-care ultrasound images. It is most useful for those who want to incorporate point-of-care ultrasound use into patient care by gaining experience via simulation. The Laerdal-SonoSim Ultrasound Solution is suited for learners in graduate medical education programs and clinical care who practice in the following areas: critical care, trauma care, general surgery, emergency medicine, cardiology, internal medicine, and family medicine. Only the Laerdal-SonoSim Ultrasound Solution combines real-world patient care simulation with learner-operated, realistic point-of-care ultrasound assessment of complex patients. Its scenarios deal with challenging but commonly encountered clinical cases where the correct application of bedside ultrasound acts as a pivot to facilitate timely medical intervention and decision-making in a risk-free environment. Simulations that don't include ultrasound aren't replicating real life. The Laerdal-SonoSim Ultrasound Solution offers the most comprehensive simulation training to prepare learners for real clinical practice. Okay, so next I'd like to discuss a little bit more in detail some of the features in particular that the Laerdal-SonoSim Ultrasound Solution is designed to work with. So let's cover a little bit about the scenarios. We created 50 specifically designed scenarios in different areas of medical care. These are common clinical presentations where bedside ultrasound plays a very important role in facilitating timely management of these patients that is occurring today in medical centers across the country and across the world. We also have designed and embedded within the scenarios a self-contained curriculum. Because these are medically complex scenarios combined with complex ultrasound imagery and integrating these two issues together, we felt it was important to create a self-guided curriculum that includes both elements of education regarding ultrasound interpretation as well as debriefing regarding the medical decision-making process of managing the medical aspects of the scenario. The benefit of this is that to run these scenarios, the simulation center or facility running the scenario does not need to have an ultrasound education expert and medical expert necessarily present to get all of the learning elements necessary to extract from the scenarios itself. So this is a view of the SIM store, and these are the scenarios designed for SIM-Man in 3 bundles: the cardiac resuscitation bundle, critical care bundle, and trauma care bundle. And within each bundle there are 10 scenarios, and there you can see a brief description of each of the scenarios and the type of pathology likely to be encountered within each of the scenarios. Conversely, for SIM-Mom, there are 2 bundles, one for early stage and one for late stage pregnancy. And within each of these bundles, there are a combination of different types of cases, both including trauma, critical care, and cardiac associated patients. This depicts one of the key elements of the self-contained curriculum. We call this screen our virtual instructor, and after running through a simulation, learners can go to the Laerdal-SonoSim Ultrasound Solution computer and review videos that have been created and narrated and reviewed by ultrasound experts that review the imagery and pathology within each of the scenarios at each of the points accessed during the scenario. So on the right, one can see the ultrasound imagery that could be obtained by imaging the mannequin, and on the left would be a live video that plays and depicts and describes what is being viewed and imaged at that point. Again, this plays the role of having a ultrasound expert as part of the educational experience of going through the scenarios. Another key feature that we created in designing the scenario were different modes of operation. The goal of this was that we realized there are different types of end users and different needs for different types of end users, from simulation centers to graduate medical education programs to providers in actual practice. And to accommodate that and have scenarios that would appeal to all of those groups, we created different modes. The 3 modes we created are the individual learner mode, team training mode, and manual mode. And I'll go through those individually. It should be noted that when purchasing the Laerdal-SonoSim Ultrasound Solution scenarios, each of these modes are embedded within the scenarios themselves, and the customer will have access to each of these modes. So the first mode is the individual learner mode. It's a somewhat different design that we felt was really helpful to minimize the number of people necessary to run a scenario. Again, these are complex, medically sophisticated scenarios and patient care encounters, and we didn't want for the end user to have to assemble a large number of people to successfully run the scenario. So we designed the individual learner mode, which requires one instructor and one learner. It certainly can accommodate more than one instructor and one learner, but we felt that having this as a minimum really enabled a lot of goals, including minimizing the need for multiple people to run the scenario, an ability to test the critical thinking process of the learner, the ability of the learner to integrate understanding of ultrasound imagery into moving the scenario forward, and to isolate the experience for one learner to create a robust clinical experience. Now, this learner mode can accommodate multiple other learners as well. The way that we managed to make this work was to have automated responses, wherein when the learner places an order, an automated response that mimics the way state-of-the-art medical care should be practiced with a closed-loop communication system responds to the learner, so the learner gets constant feedback. The LEAP operator does not need to be involved in that process other than operating the LEAP software. So again, the LEAP operator does not need to be a medical or an ultrasound expert to navigate through the scenario. The second mode of operation is team training mode, which most closely mimics traditional simulation. Whereas in individual learner mode, there are automated responses. In team training mode, there are no automated responses. And the benefit of this is that it really allows a team to get together and work collaboratively to move through one of the complex cases. In this mode, different members of the team can perform different tasks, including somebody to do ultrasound during the scenario, somebody to act as the team leader, and somebody to manage the airway, for example, or perform defibrillation, or all of the other elements of managing a critically ill patient. It also provides the ability to assess how well the team works together and to see how a team can operate in real clinical practice. I think that you could take team training mode into an actual intensive care unit or resuscitation suite and really get a sense of how well a clinical healthcare team works together to be able to provide feedback and assess their communication skills. Finally, there's manual mode. Manual mode is designed for anybody who wants to use the ultrasound imagery provided by the Laerdal-SonoSim Ultrasound Solution and really create their own scenario. It does not have embedded events and programming in the LEAP software and allows a sophisticated practitioner of simulation to do on-the-fly scenarios and on-the-fly simulation without the constraints or limitations of having pre-programmed events. The second major area that we tried to cover was recognizing that there are different learner levels, both from the standpoint of medical education as well as ultrasound experience. So we created 3 different levels: novice, intermediate, and advanced, and these are stratified by the amount of time allowed to progress through the scenario. Finally, as part of the self-contained curriculum, because these are complex cases, we spent a lot of time and energy researching and identifying literature to support the progress through each of the scenarios. both from the standpoint of design, but also from the standpoint of learner education. And evidence-based materials are through 2015 and in some cases 2016 most recent medical information, which of course constantly changes. There is an extensive reference list, and there are several areas including description of explanation why each of the essential events that have been created were considered essential and how they further the medical progress through the scenario, as well as case considerations, which is more of a narrative description of how one should think about the case overall. So this is, again, plays in with the instructor video and the other elements of the debrief to really provide a multifaceted educational experience, again, that is embedded and self-contained within the scenarios and does not necessitate an advanced ultrasound and or medical provider to guide learners through. So I think we should move on to some commonly asked questions. Due to the large audience today, we're unable to facilitate a live Q&A. However, we would like to address some common questions many of you have. So Ed, I think this one is for you.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Wallace, and thank you for all that valuable information. Like Dr. Wallace said, we'd like to just answer some of the most commonly asked questions, and this one comes up quite a bit, and it's really what Laerdal simulators that are currently out there support the new technology. And we're happy to say that the SimMan platform, the 3G and Essential, and SimMom are the first to be able to adopt this technology. So they'll be able to retrofit onto current existing units that are out in the field, and as well it can be ordered now coming up with any new purchases as well. So if you're looking towards a newer simulator, it certainly will be on that when you, but certainly SimMan and SimMom can be upgraded as they stand now, and more simulators to be added as this technology unfolds.
Okay.
Okay, our next question too is, can I integrate the ultrasound images into my video capture for debriefing later? And we use SimView Mobile. So we get this from our customers that are using AV systems to capture the simulation and the team training, and they really want the ability to not only see the event, the training session, so they can properly debrief, but they would like to be able to incorporate the images that are seen on the Laerdal-SonoSim solution, and we're happy to report that that is capable while using SimView Mobile. It actually integrates into our Laerdal SimView Mobile system and allows you to capture the actual images that the clinicians are seeing at the time that they are treating and assessing that patient. So it falls within the video stream and can easily help with the debriefing.
Okay, so I'll take this one. I'm a director of a sim center. Which of the three modes would be most useful for my center? I think all of the modes are potentially useful, but in particular we felt that the individual learner mode might be particularly useful. We realized that sim centers are tasked with potentially seeing and assessing and providing an experience for multiple learners and ensuring that there are educational objectives that are met and an assessment of the learner's ability to navigate through this scenario. Individual learner mode really enables a simulation center to work in this capacity. The scenarios progress through very specific time periods, And so a simulation center, for example, could schedule a learner every 10 minutes to cycle through individual learner mode and then move on to a debrief in a separate room, for example, and can really schedule with some precision a large number of learners to move through. And again, because we have the self-contained curriculum, there does not need to be an instructor who accompanies the learner through the process. The learner can review the virtual instructor videos subsequent to the scenario and review all of the debriefing materials and case considerations and evidence-based materials that covered previously.
So this one's about our Laerdal instructor application. So do the scenarios work on all of the Laerdal instructor application software versions? So the answer to that is that you currently need the LEAP software, the latest version of our instructor application. Unfortunately, it's not reverse compatible, so any new purchases of mannequins will obviously come with the latest and greatest of our instructor application, but a simple upgrade for current models will allow you to use the scenario. So remember, Dr. Wallace indicated the scenarios are available on SimStore, easily downloaded from SimStore to your Laerdal LEAP application.
So this one, for a critical care training program, which mode would be most useful to assess management of patients of a team? Again, that would be the team training mode, where automated responses are disabled, and this allows the team to work collaboratively together. We actually created team training modes so that one could incorporate phlebotomists, radiology technicians, multiple providers from different medical specialties, etc., to work as they would in a real trauma resuscitation or critically ill patient resuscitation, so that both from the standpoint of medical decision making as well as communication and efficiency of workflow among team members could be assessed. Again, we envision this could even be taken into an actual clinical arena to troubleshoot how effectively and closely the physical plant is set up to facilitate workflow and resuscitation. So really in all elements of patient care management, we felt that the team training mode would be useful to assess all of these elements.
So this is almost a repeat of one of the first questions, but it's similar in nature and I think deserves a little bit of clarity, and that is for our current install base, for our current customers that are currently using our SimMan 3G family of mannequins, we want to reassure everybody that this upgrade will be available for their mannequins. It's a very easy upgrade. It's a matter of the technology is beautiful in its simplicity and allows the mannequin to just replace the skin. So you just have to replace the mannequin chest skin, or a SimMom if you currently have a SimMom as well, and allows you to add or upgrade to a currently existing 3G that you're already using. The only caveat to that, again, is that you're required to update the instructor application if you haven't already done so to the new LEAP platform.
So as the director of a residency training program, how do I ensure that the educational curriculum is academically robust? Again, this dovetails on what I discussed previously, which is that we really spend a great degree of effort in researching and providing a evidence-based justification for the progress of the scenario, the various therapeutic and diagnostic interventions and assessments performed throughout the scenario progress, as well as the interpretation and use of the point-of-care ultrasound and imagery, and that is all embedded in the support materials that accompany each of the scenarios. Furthermore, the process of designing, creating, revising, and finalizing each of the scenarios was reviewed by multiple practicing clinicians who deal with critically ill patients on a daily basis to make sure that the interventions recommended and the flow of the scenario, as well as the diagnostic and therapeutic management, was consistent with what's happening today in medical centers across the country and the world. So I think that is going to take it to the end of the QA process here. I would like to mention one additional point, which is that it is worth looking at the websites for the respective companies and appreciating that Laerdal Medical and SonoSim are each their own companies, and that this is a collaborative project through both of them, and it helps to further the circle of learning that has been established for ultrasound education, interpretation, and then implementation into medical practice. And through a navigation of those sites, we can further describe how the partnership of the two companies helps to put education and simulation with ultrasound use into a combined package. So Lee, I'll turn it back over to you.
Okay, great. Thank you. We have now come to the time where we're going to wrap up our Q&A, and next we're going to ask each of you 2 questions via a poll. And you're going to see those polls on the screen in just a moment. Before we do that, I'd like to say thank you again to our speakers today, Dr. Wallace and Ed, for their very informative presentations.